I read my favorite actors' favorite books. I am a fangirl to my core. She's basically in a relationship and living with a gay guy. Wait, roll it back. Let's get more into it. Like, I need to know more. There's material to go through here. At this point in time, I don't think the story resonated with me at all. So, hi, hello, welcome. Let's get cozy and let's talk about books. I have been planning this video for unironically like 6 months at this point. I thought I would never get to the day when I would finally film this video, and I am so excited. It's not even funny. As you know from the title and the thumbnail, we are going to read my favorite actors' favorite books. Now, let me run you back and explain where this idea all came from. Let me set the scene for you. It's September and I was in the summer I turned pretty psychosis that all of us were into. If you know, you know. And if you don't, you're missing out, because that time was absolutely unmatched. Bring back the Wednesdays when we were all frothing at the mouth for a new episode. And at that time, I stumbled upon this one video on TikTok where Briney was asked what's his favorite book, and he said,
I mean, if you're gonna read a book, you should read Just Kids by Patti Smith, because that changed the way I view art and living my life.
And then I was like, oh my god, I need to read this book. Let me look into it. And then, not long after that, Jack came out with Inklings, and he started doing interviews with actors and writers, a lot of like very big and influential people. And I was like, wait, I can turn this into a series. I could read more books recommended by my favorite actors and actresses and authors and stuff like that. There's material to go through here. So I was like, why don't I make a full-on video where I read my favorite actors' favorite books? So we're starting with my favorite male actors, just because Briney inspired this idea, but don't fret, because we will be reading my favorite actresses' favorite books as well, because on this channel we love women first and foremost. Don't you worry, girl content will be coming very soon, but we will start with my favorite male actors, and this is the selection that I came up with. Let me show you. So for Briney, we have Just Kids by Patti Smith, and I am so nervous about this book because I read the back like 5 times. I could not tell you what this book is going to be about. I have no idea. And then also, after I bought this book and I made up my mind that I was going to do this video, I saw this one video from Jack where he was saying that he hates all Patti Smith books and that he doesn't understand why people read Patti Smith because she's a bad author. And I was like, so it's too late now. It's just simply too late, so we're just gonna have to go for it. Then the second book that I have is Department of Speculation, and this is Paul Mescal's favorite book, and he didn't just mention it once.
Jenny Offill's book, The Department of Speculation.
Oh, okay.
I really loved reading that book for the first time. I've reread it like 3 or 4 times now.
It just keeps blowing your mind.
Yeah, I just think that like the form of it I find really engaging. I think there's a line in it where I'm going to paraphrase it, but the protagonist says, I bought a winter jacket and you put your hands in all of the pockets, and I was like,
God.
Oh.
You told me that.
I told you, it sticks with
when
me.
we were sitting outside
Yeah.
at the Shakespeare's house, you said that line to me and I was like, whoa.
Isn't it the most amazing?
Yeah.
He mentioned it multiple times. I have multiple videos saved where he says that this book is his favorite book. It's a very short one. It's a very cute cover. I am so excited for this one. I really do hope that this is going to be a good one. I've not heard bad reviews yet, so I'm crossing my fingers and toes that this is going to be a success. And then last but not least, we're going to read Tuesdays with Morrie, and this was a recommendation from Tom Blyth. As you guys know, at the beginning of the year, People We Meet on Vacation came out, and in that tour run, Tom Blyth spoke about multiple books that he really loves, but this was one that he mentioned.
One of my favorites is one I read when I was quite young, when I was dealing with a loss, and my mum gave me a book called Tuesdays with Morrie. Yes. And it's a short book, but it's really beautiful. It's about loss, and it's about life, and it's about, it's a really simple book, but it's beautiful.
And how you can confide in someone.
Yeah, and investing time in someone and learning from them.
Mm-hmm.
before the time.
I have been wanting to read this book for such a long time, so I thought that was the perfect excuse for me to finally pick it up. And this is a nonfiction, and I'm not really used to reading nonfiction, but I am excited nonetheless. These are very different from anything that I would ever pick out myself, but I am kind of excited to go into these books. We have Briney, we have Mescal, and we have Blyth. I really love every single project that I've seen with these people, and I'm so happy that this type of interview finally exists and people ask about actors' favorite books, because I think a person's favorite book says so much about who they are, and I think these are going to inform me so much more about not only the person but also their craft and where they pull from and their emotions. And I cannot wait to delve into not only these books but so many more that are to come. I am a fangirl to my core. If I find someone that I really like, I will most probably form an obsession for them. So just knowing and reading their favorite books, I think, is going to fuel that even more. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but it's just the way that it is. So I'm very excited. Without further ado, I think it's time to start. I think we'll start with Just Kids, just because this is the book that started the whole thing, the whole concept. I'm nervous, but I guess let's roll the tape. Not very far into it at all, but I annotated every other page. I really like the writing of it, and I didn't know this, but if I'm gathering this correctly, it's a memoir about Patti Smith and this guy Robert. In the first chapter, we're introducing Patti from when she was born to how she grew up a little bit. I don't want to spoil it for you if you want to read it yourself. But then also Robert, not so much though. And then the first chapter ends when she says that was the summer when I met Robert. And I'm assuming that from the second chapter onwards is going to be their story. We also had a foreword? Is that what it's called? Forward? I think that might be her in the future and someone dies. I got emotional from like the first paragraph. I am scared that this is going to emotionally kill me, but here's some pictures. This is her and this is him when they were young. So yeah, I'm assuming it's their memoir or like a part of their story together. I don't really know. I really like the writing. I think she writes very beautifully, very poetically, and I think she does a great job of setting the scene visually, but also making us understand the characters and their personalities. However, I also find it a little bit difficult because I just finished reading 2 contemporary romances and I didn't really read much fiction this year. So this type of writing is a little bit too intricate for me right now. Like my brain is kind of having a little bit of issues comprehending what it's reading, but I am hoping that the more I read, the more I get attached to the characters and the story, and it's going to get easier. I'm hoping. I'm liking it, but it's kind of long and dreary. Like the first 30 pages felt like 100. I don't know. That's my first update. I'm gonna keep going. I don't really have an opinion yet. The feelings are kind of mixed. I finished the second chapter, and I actually went through the second chapter with the audiobook as well, so I did an immersive read. I knew by the end of the first chapter that I would not be able to go through this book without the audiobook because it was just a little bit too heavy for me right now, and I don't want to hate read a book. I don't want to take so long to read it and then frown upon it just because I don't have the mental capacity to go through it and not because it's a bad story. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do an immersive read. That usually works for me. It went very well with the audiobook, so much better with the audiobook. I really like the woman who's narrating the story, and also now that we got more pictures and she explains like the context of them and they kind of fit this part of the story that we're in. This is my favorite one. I really got a chance to get more connected to them. The one thing that I'm kind of iffy about is the flow of the story. She kind of goes from like a topic that I don't really care about to a very important moment in their relationship, to another little detail about one of their friends, and then another big jump in their relationship. She goes from 0 to 100, and it's kind of like scattered and all over the place. And as a person who's used to read love stories from the perspective of a contemporary romance or like a rom-com, and they follow a certain author's journey, like you need to hit some points in the plot line, this one really doesn't do that. It's kind of like what she remembers from the time. It's very strange. It's kind of like, wait, did I miss something? Like Patti and Robert meet, they got together without kind of telling each other. They just assumed that they were together and they moved in together and they did art together. They're artists. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he is telling her that he's a homosexual. She's with someone else. She moves in with someone else, but then he comes back and he keeps telling her that he loves her, and even if he's a homosexual, he still wants to be with her, so they stay together. And I'm like, wait, roll it back. Let's get more into it. Like, I need to know more. It's kind of just mentioned. I don't know. But I'm still enjoying the writing a lot, and if you're willing to accept the writing style, I think it does have potential. And now I was thinking also about the fact that this is a book that Chris recommended, and from all of the interviews that I've seen of him and all of the instances where he was talking about his personal life, I gathered a lot of this kind of bohemian artistry just by what he's saying, like the films that he would like to make and his love for New York. It all kind of translates in this book, and it makes a lot of sense that this is a book that he loved. I'm really more into the story now. I've kind of delved deep into it and I'm excited to continue. I think I'm gonna keep going. It's time for another update. I just finished another chapter of this book. I'm 200 and something pages in, and I do have some thoughts, but not a lot. I'm gonna keep it brief. I think the one thing that I'm missing in this book, and the one thing that I find strange about this book, is the lack of emotion. The author kind of remembers something that happened in her past and she puts it into the story, and it's not like it's useless in the story. It does build character. It does build towards understanding every character better and understanding her and her journey and Robert and, you know, the time that we're in, and every single scene translates beautifully on page, but I feel like she's lacking a little bit of emotion. She's basically in a relationship and living with a gay guy, and she knows about that. Like, he's quite open with her about that. So I do feel like normally, like in any situation where this would happen, she would have some sort of feeling towards that, you know, some sort of frustration, some sort of confusion, some sort of acceptance, some sort of, I don't know, curiosity. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be overly positive or overly negative. It can be whatever, but I do feel like that would enact something in you. If somebody would ask me who Patti Smith is and what she does based on reading this book, I would say she's an artist. I feel like throughout this book and throughout her life, what it seems, she's done art in so many different forms. And I think like the main thing that we all know about artists is that they're kind of overly emotional, and I'm missing that a little bit. This is a lot of like, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then we met this person, and then we did this thing, and then this happened, and then we transitioned to this, and I'm kind of missing like what she felt while all of these things were happening in her life or with her life. Other than that, I'm really enjoying it. I really like reading about these characters, and they haven't made me hate them or dislike them in any way, shape, or form. I really am liking also the pictures that they add and kind of like the visual support of the story, because it helps you. I think I said this before, but I really do think it helps you imagine them. This is one of my favorites from this last chapter. I've been Googling more pictures of them as well, but I'm stopping myself for now just because I don't want to get any spoilers. I know that she's gonna get married with someone else, and I think they're going to break up. They've been living together ever since they met. They've been in a relationship ever since they met, but with the caveat that she knows that he's gay. To each their own, not judgmental absolutely at all, but right now in the story she's moving out, and I really am curious how that's going to impact their friendship and stuff, but I don't want to get any spoilers, so I'm not going too deep into the web to find out more about her for now, but I think I will because I'm very interested in it. I think it's the type of book that you're gonna want to binge. For me, the days that I put it aside, I wasn't reaching out for it. I didn't care. I didn't want to know. But now that I'm back into it, I kind of just want to finish the whole thing in one go. When you start reading, you don't want to stop. I think that's it when it comes to my feelings and my attitude towards this book for now. I really don't have much left, so I think I'm gonna see you next when I finish this book. I got what I wanted, and I got a very emotional ending. I'm not gonna tell you why. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but something very important happens at the end, and that's when I feel like she truly unleashes her feelings on page. It kind of explained to the reader why she wrote the book and what the book means to her. I do think I'm gonna look back on this book with a lot of fondness, and I did enjoy it very much, and I think it's a story about friendship, it's a story about love, it's a story about acceptance and curiosity. I feel like this book is the definition of the concept of like your soulmate doesn't have to be your husband, doesn't have to be the person that you have kids with, doesn't have to be the person that you're sharing your life with. It can be anyone, and I do believe that these two people were soulmates and they loved each other through thick and thin, through everything. I did very much enjoy it, and I would recommend it. I'm very happy that I read it, and I'm aware that if it wouldn't have been a recommendation from Briney and it wouldn't have been in the concept of this video, I don't think I would have ever read this book, so I'm actually very happy that I did, because I really did enjoy it and I do recommend it. Again, it was not the type of book that I felt like I needed to pick it up every single time I was putting it down. I wasn't as invested as I thought that I would be maybe at the beginning, but I did very much enjoy it. I have not settled on a rating. I'll put it on the screen somewhere, but I do believe it's gonna be somewhere around 3-4 stars. I think we already reflected a little bit on the fact that it's a recommendation by Briney, and I'm really happy that I got this insight into his brain a little bit, and I feel like I'm gonna look differently at his artistry from now on. So I'm very happy that I read this book, and now it's time to pick the next book of the vlog up. Let me grab it, just give me 1 second. I think the next book that we're gonna read is Department of Speculation by Jenny Offill. This is the recommendation from Mescal, and I think I said it in the intro. I've seen multiple videos of him recommending this book. It wasn't just one, it was many, and not only recommending this book and saying it's his favorite book, but also giving quotes and like sharing his favorite parts of this book. So I'm definitely gonna annotate this one as well, and I'm very excited to find that one specific quote that he shared multiple times. When I get there, I'm gonna update you. I once again don't know anything about this book. I think it has a very, very beautiful cover. I love the fact that it has this pink writing on the cover and also on the back. It's a very short read as well, so I think it's gonna take me no time. I'm very curious what it is about, but I'm in the habit of not really reading the back of books before going into them. I love going into books blind. Sue me, I don't know. But yes, this is the next read. I guess let's find out. Let's read Mescal's favorite book. got 80 pages into this book, almost halfway through. I really wanted to read 100 so I would be halfway through, but I'm falling asleep. It's so late. I just want to take my makeup off and go to bed, but before I do that, I want to update you really quickly on my thoughts because I realized I haven't told you anything about this book yet. Like, you don't even know what it is about. It's a very different format than any other book that I've ever read ever in my whole entire life. We're basically following a main female character that is not named. We don't know who she is. I've only seen that in one other book, and that is My Friends by Frederick Buckman, and that's my favorite book of all time. And I think in that book and in this one, similarly, I think the reason why they choose not to name the main character is because it's more relatable as a reader. It's easier to self-insert and kind of identify with the character. So I'm really liking that. That's not an issue with this book, but we're basically, I'm gonna show you actually. We have little paragraphs like these, and every single one of them have different observations or like different moments in the character's life, but they're not necessarily related to one another. So in one, we're gonna talk about her marriage. In another one, we're gonna talk about her child. In another one, we're going to talk about their neighbors. In another one, we're going to talk about a study. In another one, we're going to talk about a random observation that she made on the metro. On another one, we're going to talk about her career as a teacher. And it's so random. We're jumping from one thing to another, which kind of makes me think about Just Kids, where we don't really go into detail about feelings or experiences. The structure is so different than anything that I've ever read. Like, we don't have a hero's journey. It's not the typical book that I usually read, but I'm not against it. I think it's so bingeable, and some of this writing is absolutely amazing. I already tabbed some of it. I really like the writing. Also, I found the one quote that Paul Mescal always references when he talks about this book. I was so eager to get to that point, and it's quite early on in the book. It's on page 13-14, and the actual quote for anyone interested is, "I learned you were fearless about the weather. You wanted to walk around the city. Come rain, come snow, come sleet, recording things. I bought a warmer coat with many ingenious pockets. You put your hands in all of them." It's something that might discourage people to read this book. It's not that cryptical, all of it. It's mostly about her marriage, her child, her career, and then sprinkled within some random facts. The quote didn't really resonate with me. I don't know if I got it completely. With actors and stuff, you live in such different worlds and it feels like they're so fictional. It kind of feels like they're not real. And then reading the same book and like the same sentences and kind of referencing the same lines in a book makes it feel so like they're a human being. I don't know, it humanizes them so much, and that's so nice. I don't know much about Paul Mescal's personal life, and I've not seen an immense amount of interviews of him, but I have watched All of Us Strangers and Normal People, and I really want to watch Hamnet as well. I don't necessarily see how this book reflects his personality or his artistry in any way, but I am enjoying it, and I kind of see a pattern with the other book and this book being recommended by actors. I think I'm gonna wait to read Tuesdays with Morrie as well to kind of contour my idea better, but they're kind of similar in very different ways, where Just Kids is a biography and it feels like a biography and it feels like then this happened in our life, then this happened in our life. It's so in the real world and like places in New York and stuff like that, so it feels so tangible and so real, like a piece of history. This kind of feels atemporal. We don't really know who we're talking about. We don't really know what's happening. We just go with the flow. And I feel like the best way that I can describe it is a delicate point of view on life. It's just little moments that make our lives. It's kind of like chatting with a loved one, like your mom, your sister, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever, at the end of the day, and you're like, oh yeah, so today this happened to me at uni, and then I had this experience, and then I had this random thought about birds, and then, you know, like this random woman said something on the metro, and also when is the world ending? And yeah, tomorrow I think I'm going to do this and that and that. You know, it's kind of like that, but in like a beautiful way. It's very bingeable, it's very fast-paced. I honestly, at some point I was like, am I gonna finish the whole thing tonight? But I'm not. I'm going to go to bed, but I really am looking forward to picking it up next. We're gonna see if it calls my name tomorrow when I wake up. I have quite a busy day, but I hope that I can finish this tomorrow. I'll keep you guys updated. See you when I see you. It's time for final thoughts, feelings, and reviews for this one. I really enjoyed this story. I think it was very beautifully written. I enjoyed the newness of it. At the end of the book, it gives credit to the guy who invented this sort of writing, or like who started writing in this sort of way. So apparently it's kind of like a genre of books, and I'm very happy I went into a book like this, because one of my goals for 2026 was to widen my horizons and start reading new genres and try different types of books and reading more out of my comfort zone, and I'm very happy that I did that with this book. I only read this book in 2 separate sittings. I don't think it took me longer than maybe like 3 hours in total to read this book. It's a very short book. It's not even 200 pages, it's 177 pages. It's so bingeable, it's so easy to read. I kind of inhaled it, and usually I do like reading books very fast, just because I just get the story all at once and it's like I'm watching a movie. However, with this one, I'm kind of sad that I ended up binging it, because like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, I think because it has such random thoughts in it and paragraphs, and it's not your typical hero's journey arc of a story, you can kind of get lost in it if you are not paying attention, and it contains so many metaphors that, you know, if you don't give yourself time to digest and to look at from the perspective of the chapter that you're in, they just kind of fly by your head. I don't think it's a matter of I didn't understand them because I'm stupid. I think it was a matter of I didn't give them time for me to digest them and to think about them and to really truly let them sink in and simmer. And for that reason alone, I wish I didn't binge this book, because it's the type of thing that I think I'm gonna forget that I ever read. I don't think I'm gonna remember reading this book, but I do think this is the type of book that I wanna keep, I never wanna get rid of, and I do wanna reread it one day. Maybe like when I'm 40 years old, maybe when I'm gonna be married, when I'm gonna have kids. I think that's when this story can kind of resonate with you a little bit more. At this point in time, I don't think the story resonated with me at all. So there's that. I don't know if I'm gonna rate it. I don't know what to rate it. I don't even know if a rating is fair for this book, because like, I just think I have rating fatigue, just because I read so many books, and this year I decided to let go of the 4.25s and 4.75s and just keep it 4, 4.5, 5. I just don't think I know how to rate books anymore. Like, every single book that I read ends up being like a 3.5 or a 4. I don't ever like to give books 2 stars. Like, if I give a book 2 stars, it means I really, really disliked it. And was this the type of book that I was very interested in? No. Do I think this story is gonna stick with me? No. But do I think it deserves like a 2 or a 2.5? No. So I don't know how to rate it. I think I ended up giving it a 3-star on Goodreads, but I don't even know if that reflects my feelings towards this book. I get why Paul Mescal said this is the type of book that he came back to time and time again, and I think that's very fair. I kind of see a pattern with this book and Just Kids, and the fact that they're recommended by actors. I feel like they have a type of book that they like to read. I don't know if I'm a fan yet. I think it's an acquired taste. I didn't fall for it for the first 2 times, but we'll see if I get more into it. And the third book that we're gonna read in today's video is Tuesdays with Morrie. I think this is a nonfiction about, it says it right here, an old man, a young man, and life's greatest lesson. This is the 20th anniversary edition. I know this is a quite popular book. A lot of people have read this book that I follow and really liked it. So I do have high hopes for this one. It's also a 200-page book. It looks thicker, so I thought it was like 300 or something, but it just has like a thicker page. But yeah, I'm gonna get to it in a few days. I'm excited. This is a recommendation by Tom Blyth. We'll see if I end up loving it. Maybe the 3rd time's a charm. It's time for the first update. I just reached page 50. When I say that I go into books blind, this is what I mean. Tuesdays with Morrie in my brain was a story told by Morrie. Did not comprehend that the book is written by Mitch Albom, and this is his experience with Morrie. And so I opened this book, and like on the first page it talks about like the last lesson that Morrie taught this man before he died. What do you mean Morrie dies? What do you mean Morrie's an old man when he's writing this book? I was so completely outside of the realm of what this book was when I picked it up, and now I get it. So we're following this guy, Mitch. Morrie was his college professor, or I don't know, he was his professor, and at his graduation, he goes to Morrie, they hug, whatever, and Morrie asks like, will you stay in touch? And he goes, yes, I will, but then however many years go by, like more than 10, I believe, and they never speak again until Morrie is very sick, and there's this television show that covers his story, and Mitch sees this show on TV, and he's like, oh my god, Morrie was my professor, like I need to be in contact with him. And that's how they reunite. Then something happens in Mitch's life, and I literally stopped at the page where he calls Morrie, and Morrie goes, you're coming to visit me. He said, less a question than a statement. Well, could I? How about Tuesday? Tuesday would be good, I said. Tuesday would be fine. And that's probably when it's gonna make sense why the book is named Tuesdays with Morrie, and I believe we'll get more of their conversations and why Morrie was such a big part of his life to the extent where he wrote a book about him. But I'm already 50 pages in. That means I have 150 left. This is so bingeable, so fast paced. It's a short book, but I'm excited to see why Tuesdays with Morrie and what happens during his Tuesdays with Morrie. But now it's like I needed to read 50 pages to kind of understand what the fuck I was reading. And not in a way where the first 50 pages are irrelevant or nothing happens. It's just that I was so clocked off that I just genuinely didn't know what I was getting myself into. But I was thinking while I was reading about the fact that this is a recommendation about Tom Blyth, and I was thinking like I haven't really watched many interviews of Tom Blyth. I generally just like him as an actor. I feel like he has this like very, I don't mean it in a bad way, but like this old man vibe of him. Maybe it's the way that I perceive him. I perceive him as this very like calm and collected and grounded person, and I feel like he's giving me major Morrie vibes, but I am curious to what extent he relates to Mitch in this story, because he's the young man, he's the 37-year-old like going through a midlife crisis. I'm excited to go more into it and not only learn more about their story, but also learn more about Tom Blyth through the fact that this is a book that really touched him and he felt strong enough about it to speak about it on an interview about books, right? So I'm excited. I think I'm gonna go outside to read for a bit because the sun is out, it seems warm. I'm gonna put on a jumper and I think I'm gonna go outside. I hope I find like a good bench or like a good spot in the sun to read. That would be lovely, and I just want to binge this. I'm gonna grab a snack, I'm gonna grab a jumper, and I'm gonna go out. I'm done. Oh my god, that felt so heavy at the end and light at the same time. I haven't really had any time to gather my thoughts after finishing this book, but I kind of want to give my absolute raw reaction to the end of it, because honestly, I don't remember anything that I said about this book in previous clips of this vlog. Like, I don't remember what my predictions of it were, what I knew about it. I think I went into this thinking it was going to be a non-fiction book. I didn't know anything else. At some point I figured out who Morrie was, who Mitch was, and what the title meant. But in between that moment and now, I have taken all of this in. It feels so important, and it feels so heavy, and it feels so like deep and meaningful and layered. I don't even know if I'm making sense, but basically Morrie used to be Mitch's professor. They never really talked for many years, and when they finally reunited, Morrie was dying. Like, he was diagnosed with ALS, which is like a neurological disease basically. He couldn't move anymore. He used to be a dancer and he couldn't even stand anymore, and it kind of gave him time to just sit down and reflect on life and love and death and all of that. And Mitch gets in touch with him after seeing him on television, and then on Tuesdays he would come to Morrie's house and they would speak. Every chapter is another lesson. They kind of were like sporadic in my brain up until the very end when Mitch, why do I say Mitch? Morrie was approaching his death, that it all kind of like came together, and all of these lessons started touching me even deeper, because it wasn't just Morrie that was preaching anymore. I felt like Mitch, listening, was taking it in more and more and more and more, and it was so emotional because he opened up and he was learning as Morrie was preaching, and I felt like I was going through this story as Mitch was going through this story. In the beginning detached, but just my interest was piqued, and then as I was going through the book, I was more and more interested, and by the end, like, every single word that would come out of Morrie's mouth, I was like, tell me, I need to know, I need to learn, I need to take it in, I need to know. By far, this is my favorite one that we've read in today's video. I really enjoyed it. The end made me cry. I'm so emotional. It's like, if you've ever had a professor or a teacher, or I don't know, a person who gave you advice and taught you things in your life, and you feel so close to them and so connected to them, and maybe they're not among us anymore and you miss them so much, I think this book is for you. And I was noticing as I was reaching the end that these two books are kind of similar in the structure of them, in the way where give me a second, okay? I'm not saying they're the same thing. Absolutely the fuck not. However, we are experiencing a person who is still alive telling a story of their past in relation to another human being that marked their existence in a very revolutionary way. In this one, we have Mitch talking about his professor and what he taught him. And in this one, we have Patti talking about Robert, who was her friend, her lover, her, I don't know, partner in life and crime, whatever. At the beginning of both of these books, we know that the character that we are going to read about is going to die. And by the end of it, they do die. And it's kind of like the story of why this person was so impactful in these people's lives and the lessons that they learned through them and their story with them. But I feel like this is what this was missing. Like, this has so much more emotion, so much more charm, so much, I don't know, it's better. It's this, but better. Of course it's different, but I think it just succeeds with delivering the message in a more digestible way for me. I think this one is going to sit at a 4-star maybe, I don't know, but I really did enjoy it. I highly recommend. Like, if you are interested in this book, if you've listened to me speak and you're like, this is kind of interesting, should I or should I not read it? Read it. I think you should read it. I'm gonna start recommending this book to people like it's my day job. Like, it was so good. And my camera is dying, and I'm taking it as a sign that I should shut the fuck up and not only close my thoughts on this book, but also the video. we're done. We read all 3 books. We read Just Kids by Patti Smith, Department of Speculation by Jenny Offill, and Tuesdays with Morrie by Mitch Albom. They were very similar and very different at the same time. These were very different from anything that I have ever read before, but it kind of piqued my interest to go more into the direction of nonfiction books, autobiographies, as long as they're interesting. I feel like even if you're a fiction reader, even if you never thought that you would enjoy these types of books, I think you still could, and I think Tuesdays with Morrie is the best example of that. I think I reflected individually how they kind of connected to the actor that recommended them to me, and I'm so happy that I finally got around to it and finally filmed this video because I have been thinking about it for such a long time. I'm so excited from now on every single time that I'm gonna watch a movie of these people or I'm gonna watch an interview where they speak. I'm gonna be thinking about these books and like kind of feel like I know them in a more deeper, in a more layered way. I hope you guys enjoy it, and let me know if you have any other actors, actresses, writers, authors, influencers, I don't know, whoever that you would like me to read recommendations from. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. I hope you enjoyed. I hope the book that you're reading right now is a 5-star floppy, the perfect book, the best book that you've ever read in your whole entire life. I hope to see you in my next video, in my next reading vlog. I'll leave you to reading.